Get deep insights into your SAP Data Services by leveraging your metadata with 360 Suite. I am, of course, is Scott Farley. I'm one of your one of your sales directors. I'm the East Coast sales director here at 360 Suite. I am joined by Pauline Lancaster.
Hi, this is Pauline. I'm the pre-sales engineer with 360 Suite, and I've been here over 4.5 years now, and previously worked with business objects as a universe developer and admin and report writer for about 10 years.
So before we begin, for those of us who haven't joined us in the past, please submit your questions anytime. You'll see the chat box on the side there from GoToWebinar. If you just pop them in there, we will answer them either during or towards the end of the session. We will send you a recording after the session is completed. And of course, if you could take just a few minutes after the session to just complete the exit survey, we would really appreciate it. It allows us to fine tune our operations here and provide you with the best information and presentation going forward. So with that, so today, again, most of you are probably familiar with 360, our product 360 Eyes. This is our metadata management and impact analysis tool. It's where we extract the metadata from your business objects, CMS, auditor, and file stored databases, allowing you to find out usage and, just as importantly, non-usage across your entire platform. What we're here to also talk about, so what we call this is BI on BI, so business intelligence on your business intelligence. And what we're here to tell you about today is a new tool that we have put together, and that is 360 Eyes for Data Services, which allows you to do BI on your ETL. Just so we don't get 1,000 questions about this as well, these are new services. So if you have 360 Eyes, these are separate licenses. We are utilizing the branding of 360 Eyes, but including data services with it. So they are separate licenses if you are interested. So I'm sure that most of you here are very familiar with SAP Data Services, but very quickly, obviously this is SAP's robust extract, transform, and load tool. It allows you to do multiple ETL jobs in real-time operations, increases flow productivity through graphic design, and facilitates reuse of your objects, data manipulation, and same method for different data sources.
Right, so I just want to be clear that to everybody on the call, if you don't have SAP Data Services, if you use another ETL solution, then this solution won't work for you. This is for SAP Data Services, which allows you to extract data from multiple sources, transform the data, and populate typically a data warehouse is what it's used for. So just wanted to clarify that in case anybody isn't sure what their ETL solution is. Okay. So we've talked to a lot of customers that we introduced this solution because a lot of our customers had a need around BI on their ETL. So one of the main use cases is being able to monitor the executions and the execution history. So that's not possible out of data services as it stands. So the monitoring includes, being able to monitor the jobs, ensuring that the data that's being populated are valid. The volume indicators. So maybe one day you're extracting 1 million rows, the next day it's 1,000 rows. Could be an issue there, so being able to highlight that, and also the execution time. So being able to monitor the times that it's taking to load the tables, to extract and run through the process, and also the history. So being able to see over time, it maybe are things slowing down, or the processes getting slower? Maybe certain tables are taking longer to load. Could it be, is there something with performance? So having that information allows you to maybe detect performance issues to see if there are potential issues and areas where you could potentially improve the processes. Okay, so that was one of the big challenges that customers of SAP Data Services had, and the second was impact analysis and data lineage. So knowing, if you're planning a modification to your ETL process, do you know maybe it's a certain table that's being updated? Do you know where the flows are, where that table is being called within your processes? And then also, do you know what universes and reports are going to be impacted by those changes? So that you can alert either the developers or the end users. These will need to be tested, or this is going to be affected by these changes. Currently, to try to pinpoint what universes, what reports are being impacted, there's no solution available. You'd have to manually go through the universes to determine what might be impacted by certain changes. Okay, and then the third challenge was just having design some assistance on the execution plan, knowing where the most consuming portions of the ETL process were. So is it, extracting? So on the left, you've got your source tables, and then the transformations, and it tells you, how many rows are being populated, the amount of time it's taking. So to be able to pinpoint really, where is the most time consuming process? Maybe that's an area where it could be improved and tuned maybe, or something's changed and it needs to be changed to improve the process.
So we're going to have a couple polls today, and this will be our first one, and that is, which of the following cases are most relevant to you? All right, so you have 5 options. Select more or one or more of the following: need documentation, need impact analysis, need schedule info, ID part data flow that is critical, and compare environments. We're going to give you a little bit of time here, so please take a few minutes, a few seconds, not minutes, to take the poll.
We'll give everybody about 20 more seconds.
Sounds about right. Yep. We've got about 50% have voted so far. Come on, if you can, just take a quick moment and check a couple boxes for us. All right, I think we've slowed down a little bit more. Give me 5 more seconds, Pauline. We're up
Okay.
over 80%. All right,
Oh,
we can close out the poll.
okay.
Okay, so right off the bat, need impact analysis, 78%. ID part data role, data flow that is critical, 43%. Very well, perfect. And then, of course, need schedule information. All right, well done.
Okay, well, that's good to see. Yeah, we'll definitely cover in the documentation and impact analysis and all of that. So we will show you what that looks like. I'm going to move on then.
All right, so again, with 360 Suite, we have 360 Eyes, which is our BI on BI tool. And now with 360 Eyes for data services, we have BI on ETL. And what this allows you to do is do a complete data lineage from your source database all the way to your reports. And we're going to provide you a demo now that Pauline's going to go and really showcase the different features that SAP Data Services allows you to do with that. What Eyes for SAP Data Services allows you to gain. So this is also our impact
I'm
analysis
sorry,
and
I'm on. Sorry, I was on mute. Sorry about that.
okay, it's
Um,
like
I'm like talking, sorry. So yeah, so this was the impact analysis and data lineage. This was the one that was selected, the highest selected on that poll that we just did. So being able to have the source database information all the way to the document and see that full lineage, you do need 360 eyes for the universe and document components. So just the 360 eyes for business objects, and you can combine that with 360 eyes for data services, so two separate solutions to get that full end-to-end data lineage. And so that you can see, okay, what's going to be impacted by these changes, if it's a change on the data services side, or if it's, where do I go for those impacted changes. So we will take a look at that. Okay, so now I'm going to jump into the demo. That's not the demo. Okay. Okay, so here I am on the server. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay, so when you install 360 eyes for data services, you will get a folder with the reports that are included with SAP Data Services. There's also a universe that's included. Just to point out the 360 eyes report. So this is part of 360 eyes for business objects. So these are the jobs that run for if you have 360 eyes for business objects, and then there are over 70 pre-built Webby reports that are included with 360 eyes for business objects. These and their universes as well, and those can be combined with the data services universes to get that full end-to-end, and as well as the documentation. So I'm going to point out a few reports. So this is the repository documentation. So when I refresh this report, so the nice thing about 360 Eyes for Data Services is the snapshot. So you have that history. So if you see these snapshots, whenever any report that I run, I'll be prompted for a snapshot. So snapshot ID is just incremented number, but this corresponds to a snapshot date. So yeah, I can regularly run the snapshots. It can be maybe on a weekly basis, kind of depends on how frequently you're changing things in your environment. But I can see when the snapshot was last taken and pick the most recent, but I can also go back in time, which is useful to be able to get that history of what has happened with data services. Okay, so here it's going to give me information about my repository. So it's documenting the project, the plans, and the plan name. Again, with this is including with the data flows as well as the projects, giving you each of your data flows, the mapping, the query, the mapping name, what the mapping is, the description, um, the source, the table name, the field name. So all of that information, details on your data store. So this is this, in our case, it's just the source and the target. So currently we only extract information for the local repository. So if you have any other repositories that you use, 360 Eyes for Data Services right now only extracts information for the local repository. So these are our source and target for our data services jobs. And then um, this is the documentation of the jobs, which is really nice to have, so you can kind of see, okay, when it started, when it ended, and the information that's useful is the duration. So if you're finding that it used to take only, it took an hour to run through the whole execution, and now it's taking much longer. You can kind of identify maybe there's an issue there, or if the number of rows that are being extracted is varying one day. Maybe something happened on the source site. Maybe there was an issue on, if you're extracting multiple sources, there could potentially be issues on any of those databases, so that could I potentially identify issues. So you could have this regularly scheduled to be sent to you so you can identify those issues. Okay, and then the impact analysis reports are where a lot of our customers find the most use, so that they have that end-to-end impact analysis, looking at data services and how it affects business objects. Um, so this is combining universes. So like I said, this report snapshot, this is a 360 eyes universe. This universe snapshot is a 360 eyes universe, and then this DS snapshot is the 360 eyes data services universe. So we're combining all three of those universes to get that full end-to-end data lineage. Um, so I've selected one document name here, and I'm selecting a snapshot. Okay, so I'm going to select this latest snapshot for data services. Okay. So here's the document that I selected. It lists the objects. I see the universes, the universe, sorry, the universe where that report is pointing to, that document's pointing to, the tables and columns, and then I've got the information about the data flows that use those tables and columns. So I know what's impacted by any certain changes. If I need to identify, what's going to be impacted by changes from the business objects perspective or the data services perspective. This next report is by universe. So when I refresh this, I'll choose my latest universe snapshot. I can search by object, or I can, so an object within the universe, or I can search just by a particular universe. I'll select that universe. I select my report snapshot. Again, this is combining all of those, the 360 eyes universes with the data services universes. So here I select that one particular universe, so I know which documents are used by that universe, and then I've got all the information about the data flows, the data store name, where that's coming from, the table and field names as well. So again, if I know that something's being changed, I can identify what's going to be impacted. Okay, and then the last one is from the data services perspective. So depending on who's running these reports, the ETL developer will have certain needs. Report developer, universe developer will want to see this from different perspectives. Um, so each of these reports will be helpful depending on what perspective you're looking at. So say this particular column is being changed and you want to know what's going to be impacted from the report and universe perspective. You could select a table, or a column, or one or the other, or both. So I'm just going to look at this one column, so I know where that's in what data flow that particular column is in, the universe and the document, so I know exactly where what's going to be impacted by any of those changes. Um, okay, so I see a question about how do you catch metadata info during impact analysis with hard-coded freehand SQL transformations. Um, so you mean within the query transformations of data services? Is that what you're asking? Not maybe clarify, if you can clarify what you're asking um, by those transformations. Um, so just to clarify, so those are the reports. There's a universe with data services that's delivered, as well as reports. But if you do not have SAP Business Objects, you can still use the 360 eyes data services solution. So I'll just log into the database to show you what that looks like. So here's my 360 eyes data services database. So when you install data services, you do provide a database. We support either SQL Server or Oracle. provide a database that will uh, the jobs will run and create these tables. It'll populate these tables so that we can, grab that information, the metadata about your ETL solution. So if you don't have business objects, so if you can't leverage those Webby reports and the universes, you still have the data in these tables. You can use your own BI solution. So if you use Tableau or Power BI, you can certainly use that. I don't know if there's anyone on the call that maybe isn't a business objects customer, but is an SAP Data Services customer. So that's still an option. So I just wanted to mention that just in case. Or if maybe you want to just do run the SQL yourself and not use the Webbies. I know there's some people that prefer that. You can use that as well. You have access, so this isn't the tables aren't the data's not encrypted, so you can read it from any solution, SQL or any BI solution. Okay, so those are I'm going to grab some questions. Yeah, so so someone asked if you can put an alert if the number of rows increase to a certain threshold. Yeah, you can certainly do that with Webby. So these Webby reports, you can develop your own or modify the reports, and perhaps have them create an alert on that actual report, and then but you'd have to schedule it to send you the report on a regular basis so that you're notified of any of those changes. So yes, I have a question about Webby reports created on HANA views. Can we capture the impact analysis between business objects data services and BO 4.3? Yes, you can still. So with 360 eyes for business objects, we extract whether the source is HANA views or universes or freehand SQL. We extract all that information, so you would be able to get that full data lineage as well. Okay, so SQL transform, yeah, you would be able to extract that with, so to answer the question about how do you catch metadata information during impact analysis with hard-coded freehand SQL transformations, yeah, that would be possible to grab that with 360 eyes. Is it possible to get metadata information during impact analysis with a source like BW and a target like Lumira based on universes? Yeah, you can certainly get that. So we have with 360 eyes, we have jobs that extract information from Lumira and as well as BW. So you would need 360 eyes as well as um, for that impact analysis for BW as well as Lumira. So there are jobs. We don't have any pre-built web reports that combine what the uh, the universe for IA, but you could certainly add that. That would not be an issue, and you'd be able to get that data lineage as well. So if you're using universes with Lumira. Okay. Sorry, I'm just going through lots of
Yeah.
questions. Uh,
I can read a few if you'd like.
okay, I was gonna switch over. Um, yeah, let's just go into that next one about the audit logging capabilities.
Can you brief
Um,
us about audit logging capabilities on Sidecar HANA system using 360 eyes?
to tell you the truth, I'm not sure what's meant by that. Audit logging capabilities. So with 360 eyes, so just to back up, I didn't really cover 360 eyes for business objects. But when these 360 eyes jobs run, they populate a database which is separate from the eyes data services database. So it's a completely separate database, different tables and structures. So when these jobs run, they extract information from the file store, from the CMS, and from Auditor, and populate the eyes database. So we do have audit information. It's not all the audit, it's a portion of the audit that gets extracted. So I don't know if that answers your question. I'm not sure what you mean by a sidecar on a system. Is it not using business objects? Maybe that's the question. Okay, so how are the universes and data services linked for impact analysis? So if I'll go into one of these reports. So the universes that are provided with data services and 360 eyes are really easy to use. So here you see these reports where we're linking, we're getting that full lineage, the source all the way to the document. It's joining the universe, so the 360 eyes universe, the Webby universe, as well as the eyes data services universe, and these are, let me see how they are joined. Okay, interesting. Okay, so I guess we're joining on universe name for this. Yeah, so we're merging on universe name for this particular report. And then the Webby one, take a look at how that's being merged. So, okay, so they're all merging on universe name. So from the Webby and the universe universe that's being merged, and then combining that information.
So I have another question, and
Okay.
maybe we can go forward. And that would be, this has been asked by a couple different individuals, and that is, what is the difference between 360 eyes for data services data lineage versus information stewards data lineage?
Okay, that's a good question. I should have I had a slide for that. Let's see if I can grab that real quick here. Um,
And while you're doing that, are we done with the demo portion of this, and are we just doing the Q&A?
yeah, I just didn't know if I should stay and if I need to show
How
any
about going to the next slide, and then
switch to slides.
while
Okay.
you're looking for that, we can answer that question. We'll get back to it when you're looking at the other slide. I can go to the next step in the presentation.
Okay.
Does that work? Okay. So we included this slide because this really goes over a lot of the different pieces that we just went over in the demo, but we wanted to make sure that you had the different pre and post of all the different pieces. I'm not going to go through each one of these right from, just read it off the slide, but we provided you the slide so that you would have a reference to it. So you can see the different pieces of what you have without 360 Suite and what you will with 360 Eyes for Data Services when it comes to BI on your ETL. So Pauline, if you can go to the next slide, please. Now, finally, so with the addition of 360 Eyes for Data Services, we now have 9 solutions that will allow you to capitalize on your SAP Business Objects investment by allowing you to automate your day-to-day operations, perform bulk operations on your one-off tasks, increase your organization's self-service and user adoption of your Business Objects platform, and increase your overall return on investment in doing so by and as well as mitigating risk going forward. In front of you on this slide are several of our most powerful and popular use cases that our solutions have have helped many of our clients. We have over 500 active clients as we speak. And anyways, if any of these use cases are of interest to you or a need, if we could go to the next slide, please let us know by, we're going to launch another poll, but basically it's a drop-ins. If you're interested in having a demo, or for those of our current clients, maybe even scheduling a follow-up call, but a POC trial of 360 Eyes for Data Services, we would love to know. So if you can take a minute here, I've opened up the poll again. If you're interested for more information, please say yes. And then also, if you're looking for a trial or a demo, if you could take a minute and in the chat box say, yes, we're interested in a follow-up demo, or yes, we're interested in a trial. Let us know that, and we will make sure that either myself or one of my colleagues will absolutely get back to you. And we've got about 50% have voted, so let's just let it open a little bit, just a little bit longer. I'll scroll through the questions as well.
Okay. Yeah, and just to clarify about information steward and data services, what 360 Eyes for Data Services offers. So sorry, I haven't been a user of information steward, but information steward provides the information you have to navigate. So you can't. So my impression is with impact analysis, you have to sort of, it's a graphical, like a GUI interface where it's, it's a nice layout, but you have to look for there's not like a search capability to say, okay, I want to know where this particular object is used. You have to kind of click and look for that. That's my understanding. There also isn't the capability of documentation out of information steward. The nice thing about 360 Eyes is, say you're new to the team, you weren't the one who developed the solution. Sometimes it's a challenge to, I'm going to close the poll, the challenge to get the information about, what's in the data flows, where are these stored, what's the, how was this designed? So being able to get that documentation out is really useful. So that's kind of where information steward, it differs. It's so.
All right, so we have a couple more questions. Let's see. Does the backend support HANA database? In your demo, I see only SQL Server.
Okay, so the backend HANA is where your data services is stored, or that's where you'd want to store your, are you using HANA for your data services database? I don't even know if that's possible. We don't support HANA for the for data services, yeah.
If you could give us a quick reply back, and we'll get back to that one.
Okay, and then let's see. Sorry, just trying to read through some of these. Yeah, so the databases that we support, so you provide a database to populate the data. So it's Oracle, SQL Server, MySQL, or PostgreSQL. And then depending on where you're storing your, those are also the, MySQL, Oracle, SQL Server, and PostgreSQL are the databases where you've got your data services as well. So. Okay.
Let's see. In a data services job, we are looping with a wait and a CDC job. Are row counts available for each loop? That was from Dave.
I might have to get back to you on that one, but yeah, I believe so. I mean, the whole process is the way that the universe is designed that should allow you to report on that. But I can get back to you, make sure that I'm answering that correctly.
All right. Is it possible to determine which jobs, workflows, and data flows have not run in over 6 months?
Yes, you would be able to see that, maybe document your data flows and see if there were, if there are no start and end dates populated, then it hasn't run. So that information should be extracted. Okay, so she's at HANA. Yeah, so unfortunately we don't support HANA at the moment. So again, this is, 360 eyes for data services certainly evolving. It's been around for the last 6 months. So as we have with 360 eyes, that solution, evolved over the last 13 years. So there certainly be things that have added. I don't know, if that's on the roadmap to support other databases as your source for data services, but that again, this is evolving, so that might be potential in the future. Yeah, so someone's asking if the snapshot metadata can be scheduled maybe after a release or weekly. Yeah, so currently the job for data services it's stored on a server where you have a parameter file where it has the connection information. You can do it if you use Windows. A Windows scheduler, it's just you create a bat file that would schedule that to run weekly or however frequently you want. If you're on Linux, you could create, a shell script that would do that as well. So either option, it can definitely be scheduled.
Okay.
So a customer that has, so they're asking about, so they have on-prem SQL and Oracle as well as HANA. So it's SAC, is that SAC? And asking if that will support all of those environments as far as the data lineage and data catalog. Um, yeah, I mean that should all be supported with that. Have to follow up with some more details, but that certainly should be supported. And like Scott said, you can trial this to see, make sure it works in your environment, and gives you the information you're looking for. Um,
And I think that's a pretty good segue for us. I don't see, if we didn't catch your individual questions, we'll go back through it and with a fine tooth comb to make sure we have, and we'll get back to you. But I think we've answered most of the questions. If not, a lot of them were very similar. So finally, again, if interested in a demo or some more information, this is our contact information here. So please reach out. And as always, when you can, last reminder, if you can take a few minutes and fill out the survey after that'll be sent to you, we'd appreciate it. So thank you again. Thank you, Pauline, for your once again for your great presentation. And thank you everyone for attending.
Thanks. Have a good day.
Take care.